Hello everyone and welcome to episode 2 of F1 Talk. I'm Matthew Adams, back here with you for the second day in a row with some new Formula 1 news. Now, I took the liberty of looking at the new Ferrari and new Force India launches online. They look rather impressive cars. Even the Force India looks rather impressive. And I'll also be going through with you the new rules and regulations for the upcoming season. But to begin with, we have our final driver on the grid for the 2012 season. And unfortunately it's nothing to get excited about. The only seat available was the second seat at Hispania, and it's been filled by the guy who filled it last year. Narain Karthikeyan is back in the saddle at HRT, no doubt due to his considerable financial backing. Karthikeyan is quite possibly the worst driver in the history of F1, but they've gone with him basically because he's bringing in a substantial amount of money, no doubt. So basically that's the news. The driver market is completely full now. Few drivers I actually feel sorry for. Both former drivers of Toro Rosso, Sebastian Buemi and Jaime Alguersuari. I feel particularly sorry for Alguersuari because he was beginning to improve as the season went on last year. More often than not, he was scoring points finishes, and they just booted him out, you know. And Buemi was getting the odd points finish here or there, but they've just booted him out, and Buemi, of course. So, but you know, Alguersuari doesn't appear to have a role this year, even if it's a test driver. So I look for Alguersuari to be maybe a reserve driver for Toro Rosso. That's not exactly, you know, bee's knees, but Buemi has the reserve / test driver role at Red Bull, so you know he's in line to probably replace Webber when Webber leaves, probably at the end of this season. I can't see Webber staying with the team unless he wins the World Championship, but I'll come back to that in a future episode. Right, so basically this video is about two car launches. I'll go through them, not very detailed. I just want to talk about the appearance of the cars and then the rules for 2012, and then I'll you know, just because I've written everything down, so I'll just go through it with you. The new Ferrari, the F 2012, released yesterday, not long after I had, well, probably before I had posted yesterday's video. It was scheduled to be released on Thursday, the 2nd, but due to heavy snowfall at Maranello, not everyone could get there, or you know, all the press that were scheduled to you know, attend, they couldn't make it for whatever reason, so they postponed it by a day. And actually, you know, they got the new car, they unveiled the new car, then they posted pictures with the new car, the team, the principal, and you know, obviously the drivers, and it looked quite nice out in the snow. You know, the F 2012 is another car of this new breed that seems to have what some are terming as the ugly duckling nose. Now, I'll try and describe it as best I can. It basically looks the same as, you know, previous Ferraris, apart from it's got the ugly duckling seems to be like a two-tier nose. Not the fact that it's got holes in the middle of the tier, but you've got the top level like that, where the driver sits. Driver sits here, for example, and then you've got another bit that's a bit further down, so it's in two levels rather than just one, you know, smooth level that, you know, just looks sleek. And the McLaren is like that. The new MP427 is absolutely smooth. It's one long sleek line. But the F 2012, the new Ferrari for this year, for the moment anyway, until, you know, problems are found with aerodynamics, because Ferrari had a lot of problems with the aerodynamics the past couple of seasons. But this new car, like I say, sort of begins you know, flat, and then it goes down sleek in. So as I say, you got two-tier car, and most of the teams look like they're going to incorporate that design into their nose cone / front wing. My thoughts on it, I mean, if it works, it works, but if it doesn't, then, you know, all the teams will be reverting back to the just the sleek long line. Basically what I'm trying to say to you is the fact that the ugly duckling noses, for those of you that have played the video game Tetris, if you remember, there was a block of 4 bits that were shaped like that. That's basically what the ugly duckling nose is, and it goes on from there, you know, with the front wing down, everything. You know, Ferrari's launches are always quite spectacular, and, you know, with every car launch there's always a panel of people there asking questions, and, you know, the media are there to take photographs of it. I wish I could post photos of these things, but to be brutally honest with you, I don't want to get this channel taken down for breach of copyright or whatever. I've got a disclaimer in the video saying that I use the terms Formula 1 and F1 to describe the sport, and, you know, if you want to see pictures of the new Ferrari, just go to f1.com, or, you know, BBC F1, or just type into Google Images F2002. I'll put the name of the car in the description, because it you know, this video is basically about this car. And of course this one, the new Force India, driven by Paul di Resta and Nico Hülkenberg this season. I think di Resta is team leader, which will give the young Scot a bit of a challenge, I think. You know, he's been given the ball, so let's see how far he can run with it, so to speak. The new VJM05 is the chassis name, and it's exactly the same sort of nose cone, and both drivers are quite impressed with the car so far. Obviously we'll get our first indications in a few days at the first pre-season test. I will go through, I'll tell you the date for that a bit later on, but all in all, it doesn't look like a bad car. Looks pretty similar to the Ferrari in most ways, except the very front of the nose cone has sort of like a shark's nose, and it does look like it has a mouth in it. This car, as I say, looks pretty good. The front nose, as I say, the front bit of it is ever so slightly hanging over. I don't know if you can see that very well, but in between the two bits, this bit here looks like a very small mouth, so it's slightly open, I think, ever so slightly, probably to let airflow through. We'll be interested to see what difference that makes during the season. Of course, Mercedes engine backed, not for much longer, I understand. 2013, I think the Mercedes engine will be used solely by Mercedes GP. They, you know, like many teams, have yet to release the car or bring out their car. I assume quite a few teams will be releasing their car on the first test day, and I understand Red Bull's car launch is on the 6th, which, as I sit here, that is strangely, you know, it's a little bit weird not releasing the car before the first test day if you're going to compete in the first test. And the first season test is on the 7th, which is this coming Tuesday. So the new Red Bull RB8 is released on Monday. Released as if anyone can go out and buy it, but you know what I mean. It's unveiled on Monday, and that's when we'll see Adrian Newey's attempt this year. But as for the new Force India, new Ferrari, they look fairly similar. As I say, time will tell. We'll get our first indications of how good these cars are on the first pre-season test, although testing and racing are a lot different. Last year's Williams looked pretty good in pre-season testing, and it turned out to be one of the worst cars ever created. You know, they're rather unlucky, and because of that, you know, there's another driver I feel sorry for, Rubens Barrichello. I was so sure he was going to get his 20th season, but they've gone with Bruno Senna, and you know, best of luck to them, because I think Bruno's got masses of potential. As you know, Etten said, if you think I'm good, wait till you see my nephew. We'll just have to try and see how good he is, but he needs a competitive car to show how good he is. I thought he did a good enough job for Renault, who were now Lotus, last year. In the 6 or so races he was in, he out-qualified Petrov most of the time. I also believe he outperformed him in every race, you know, so that's just my opinion. So, on to the new rules for the 2012 season. I'll have to take them off this bit of notepad paper I've just noted down yesterday in preparation for this video. No blown diffusers, as you know, so none of these horrible sounding exhausts, which is fairly self-explanatory. Interesting point though, the only race not to have these blown diffusers last year was the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, which Ferrari won, so never know, it might be a return to form for Ferrari. There's no doubt that Massa needs to perform this season, otherwise he's out. I think the only thing that will save Massa's seat at Ferrari is the World Championship, to be honest with you. Or maybe second in the World Championship. But I can't see Massa staying after this season, I really can't. And, you know, he's quite a likeable guy, Massa, but would it be the end of his career? Or would he be, you know, would he be tempted into another seat elsewhere? But that's another video for another time. Safety car. New rules for the safety car. Basically, when, you know, there's a crash or whatever, safety car comes out, and in the past, you know, there's been iffy rules about pits and stuff like that. They were sorted out in the last couple of seasons. Now we have new rules as if the with regards to lapped cars. For instance, they will be put to the back of the grid where they belong. In other words, an instance in Monaco last year where the safety car came out towards the end of the race, and Vettel had the lead, and he was being chased down by Button. I can't remember who else it was. I mean, that's terrible, but I should know. But that was that. And there was a couple of lap cars in between Vettel and second place and Button, who's in third, and it shouldn't have been that way. Now it won't be. Lap cars to the back of the grid, or, you know, to the back of the pack, which means it'll be P1, P2, P3 as a race restarts, and that's the way it should be. Nothing about the tyres being changed during a suspension for whatever reason, extreme weather conditions or whatever, but maybe that'll be a rule put in fairly soon. But you know, as there's not long till the season starts now, you know, you've got to get all the rules established, and that's basically what all the politics and protests have been going on about recently in the last few seasons, that, you know, the rules aren't clear, or the rules are, you know, not made, and things like that. No leaving the track in practice and or qualifying for whatever reason, unless obviously you spin or lose control of the car, which may be a bit of a grey area with this one, but it's basically what drivers have done in the past couple of seasons, is to save a little bit of fuel, you know, towards the race and things like that, which might be a little bit interesting. So say, like, if you're taking the car to the grid and you're driving the car around the track, and say like you're in P5 or P4, doesn't matter really, but you gain a little bit of an advantage by not taking the whole course, but now that's been banned. Seems a bit of a stuck up rule myself, but you know, that's the rules they want to bring in. The former drivers' agreement about not blocking, you know, just so like if a driver's following another one on the racing line and a driver moves out to break the tow, you're not allowed to go back in front of the of your opposing car, which Ayrton Senna used to do a heck of a lot. So if Ayrton was around today, he wouldn't be world champion. These rules would stop that, and that is now officially a rule. The DAP drivers' agreement about that. Maximum race time limit has been put forward after Canada last year took about 6 to 8 hours or something like that. I think it was 6 hours. In the case of extreme weather conditions, cars in the pits at the time of race suspension will not be allowed to rejoin. So basically, if you retire before a suspension in a race or red flag or whatever, you will not be allowed to rejoin, which is fair enough, you understand that. There's an extra testing session sometime through the season of 3 days. Whether the teams can, you know, act on this 3-day session anytime they want, or whether it'll be a fixed session is yet to be announced. But you know, it's, in my opinion, you know, if it is one set day for all the teams to, you know, do this 3-day of testing, I would set it during the summer break. You know, shortly before or after the Hungarian Grand Prix, there's a 3-week break before the next Grand Prix. That's when I would put the test. That's my own opinion. And the final rule, all tyres can be used on the first practice, and so on, you know, second practice, qualifying, whatever, when they were only allowed 3 sets of tyres, you know, from 2011 backwards. So basically they're the new rules. I hope you've understood them, or you know, just got that. I've basically got these rules from the F1 website, but not everyone's got the time to, you know, read or you know, inclination to read. I just thought it'd make a nice video. And the last thing, as I say, pre-season testing begins at Jerez on the 7th, which is this Tuesday. So probably a video coming this coming Wednesday, you know, detailing not only the new Red Bull, I say detail, but you know, just giving you a few details on the new Red Bull, my thoughts on it after their launch, the RB8. I mean, that's what the rest of the teams are biting their nails over, becoming slightly brown trousers, brown pants about it, because Nui is a master car designer, and we'll see what he's come up with on Monday. So with the first test, I'll give you the results of whoever takes part in the test. I'll grab the results, I'll post them in the description box. But as for this edition of F1 Talk, I'll see you next time.